Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Shifty Sports Network. I'm your host, Shifty, and I'm bringing you the betting predictions for the coming weekend. This weekend, we have one of the most exciting matchups that's bringing a lot of attention: Clemson at Notre Dame. As everyone may know, Trevor Lawrence is out for the game due to a COVID-related issue. However, that has not kept the Clemson fans from believing in their team. Backup QB DJ, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, be starting in place of Lawrence. Last week, I guess you could say that DJ was brushing the rust off himself. He started his first game against Boston College, where he managed to pass for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. However, if the Tigers expect to beat Notre Dame, I believe they'll need at least 100 yards rushing from ETN to just take enough pressure off of DJ in the passing game. Defensively, you know you're not going to be able to completely subdue the Irish offense. The key to winning for Clemson defensively is to force big plays down the field into field goals instead of allowing touchdowns. As the key to Notre Dame defensively is to put as much pressure as possible on the backup in multiple creative ways as to give him a state of mind with the surprise factor, which is definitely a killer for any QB in any situation. With playmakers like Kyren Williams and Javon McKinley, though, Clemson will need to find a solid way to double McKinley in a 4 or 5 wide situation and keep minimum 7 in the box against other formations. Like Balen Spector, who Clemson fans should be looking to for the best chance to neutralize Kyren Williams and the running game, because Balen Spector leads the team in tackles for loss. As for McKinley and even Michael Mayer at tight end, look for Clemson to find ways to double up McKinley with guys like Andrew Booth and Nolan Turner. If I wanted to cover Mayer, I'd look to Venables over a corner. As Venables, he has size and speed, more than enough to keep up with Mayer, and definitely well enough to keep him in check. On the other side, though, Clemson fans need to worry about arguably the most NFL-ready linebacker in the ACC in Jeremiah Owusu, who has arguably been the center of the Irish defense. With such a keen awareness on the field, it'll be tough to run anything to his side of the field, as Clemson doesn't even have a top 10 rushing game. However, as long as you're not allowing Hamilton and Crawford to make plays on your passing attempts, you should be good to win Saturday. I believe the 2 keys to victory for Clemson are: offensively, you have to play around guys like Owusu, Hamilton, Crawford. That means runs up the middle and left side, away from the man himself, Owusu, and as short passes in the form of hitches, slants, and cuts, as so you're not having to worry about Hamilton and Crawford in the safety position. Defensively, Spector needs to keep Williams in check, and the passing game will partially diminish because of that. For Notre Dame offensively, they just need to find a way to make Williams effective enough in the run game to allow Book to pass more effectively. And that may mean Mayer getting 6 or 7 touches to take the pressure off of McKinley. Defensively, you don't have to worry about Lawrence, but you do have to worry about the playmaking ability of Travis Etienne. And if Clemson wins, he'll be the biggest reason why. Owusu will have to keep him in check. And while Etienne only has 600 rushing, he is a dual threat with 29 receptions, 434 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, because of his versatility on offense, he is going to have to take it upon himself to take any and all pressure possible off of DJ. If Owusu can keep Etienne in check, then it spells disaster for Clemson. As for my pick in this game, I'm going with Notre Dame +5. I think that Owusu will be just too much for Etienne to handle himself, and Crawford and Hamilton will keep the passing game in check. I believe that in turn will create a lower scoring game. My prediction, 24-17, Notre Dame. Now that we've got the most important game out of the way, let's go quickly on all the rest of this week's picks. I actually have one very hot, almost a fire pick in Baylor at Iowa State over 47.5. They should easily be able to put up 30 to 40 points before the half. Brock Purdy should have about 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game against Baylor, while effectively against ISU's lagging defense will score. But come up short, whereas Breece Hall should have about 150, 200 yards on the ground, which should definitely run out the clock a bit. And ISU themselves should have over 40 points at the end of the game. My prediction, 45-27 Iowa State. For this week's hot college picks, I have 3. I have Indiana +3 versus Michigan, Ohio State -37.5 versus Rutgers, and Minnesota -7 at Illinois. On the first game, while Indiana may be undefeated, they're not very strong offensively over the long haul. However, Michigan struggles so heavily offensively that you shouldn't expect many points to be put on that board. Look for defensive fails to determine the game. Guys like Josh Ross, Michael Barrett won't be able to hold the box themselves for the whole game. My prediction, 20-16 Indiana. Ohio State is arguably one of the few proven playoff-worthy teams in the Big Ten and Pac-12 based on the small number of games we've seen at this point. But when it comes to Rutgers has failed to lose by less than 35 in any matchup versus Ohio State, which was last year, and was due to a few unforced errors by Ohio State. If they can keep everything in check offensively, not turn the ball over or make stupid decisions, they should easily cover the spread. My prediction, 63-10 Ohio State. Lastly, Minnesota has looked very strong over the 2 games played. And Mohamed Ibrahim will single-handedly run over Illinois. Now, I predict him to have 150, 200 rushing yards and 2 to 3 touchdowns. The man is one of the best running backs in college football. But no one knows it yet because he's only played 2 games this year. Jake Hansen, Tariq Barnes, they ain't going to be able to do shit to slow him down. So, it's all on the secondary not to give up any major plays. Like Sidney Brown, Tony Adams, even Nate Hobbs. They have to keep all these receivers in check to even think about winning this game. My prediction, 34-14 Minnesota. Now, there's one more game everyone wants to know. What do I expect to happen? The Florida-Georgia game is always held in Jacksonville, Florida, and it forecasts to be perfectly sunny all game long. However, we know weather conditions, we know this can change. However, as for now, my prediction is based on perfectly sunny weather. This gives me a reason to believe that points will be scored in massive amounts. If you are Georgia defense, do not expect to shut down the Gator offense. But if you're Florida, don't expect to shut down the Georgia's offense either. It goes both ways. The way one of these teams is going to end up winning isn't on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to come down to defense. Can Miller and Cox read the run and play action well enough to slow down Georgia's run game to force some punts or even field goals? Can guys like Richard LeCounte, Sin, and even Ojulari cover receivers well enough to force Florida to run the ball? A part of the offense that hasn't come to them naturally, yes, this far. Part of their game that has struggled an already diminished SEC East. I don't expect Florida to find a solid answer to answer Georgia's run game, but I also don't see the Dogs finding a way to keep Trask from getting like 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. My prediction, 45-41 Georgia, with a close eye on Florida to potentially win with a similar score. Well, that's it for this week's college football predictions. Now to talk about the NFL. So, the first game that catches my eye is the Panthers-Chiefs game at 10.5. I expect them to be able to cover this with pure ease. That is my only hot pick for this week's NFL games. Expect Mahomes to get about 400 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against a defense for Carolina that is diminished with players like Russell Okung, Marquise Hayes, which are projected to stay on injured reserve. 2 of their most important keys on defense. That'll surely hurt their chances in this game. Even if they were able to play Sunday, don't expect them to perform at 100%. Okung is nursing that calf injury, Hayes with his shoulder, and even Jeremy Chinn with his knee. If even that has to happen, he stays and he's not able to play. These guys are not going to be able to keep the Chiefs off the scoreboard Sunday. My prediction, 45-10 Chiefs. Every other game that I'm looking at this week is for a 21-point teaser bet that BetOnline.ag offers. If you guys don't know BetOnline.ag, they're the most reputable online sports book in the world, and they are one of the highest rated sports books by the Offshore Gaming Association, the OSGA. The best lines to use for teasers this week are Chiefs -10.5, Ravens -1, Steelers -14, Chargers pick, which just they win. There's no -1, -2, -3. There's no spread. It's just who wins. Miami +4.5, and Seahawks -3. All 121-point teaser bet. I would give you 3.5 to 1 odds, and I like the odds on that teaser. I encourage anyone who can place money on this 6-game 21-point teaser to do so. You shouldn't have any problems, but chaos has happened before, just not nearly as often regarding my sports betting. Well, that'll do it for me today. I'm glad you guys all came out to take in some shifty knowledge regarding the games for this week of November the 7th, 2020. The lines are accurate as of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Friday before. Anyway, if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Post any comments, questions, and concerns in the comments below or on the Shifty's Club Discord under sports betting or even club chat. Anyway, I hope you guys had as much fun as I had. I'll see you guys next time on the Shifty Sports Network.